so many colors. We've got the yellow flowers here. We have the green of the trees, the blue of the sky, and then the blue of the ocean. And then there's Tim.
Hey everybody!
Welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries.
Today we're going to talk about a fabulous journey up 1/101 after having survived a raccoon that tried to terrorize us. But we successfully packed up our gear and hit the road and headed towards Highway 1.
Now, we, as we mentioned, had a very rough night the night before and the night before that as well.
Yeah.
And so we were very tired. When we're tired like that, we're pretty grumpy.
Yeah.
And it's not the best mood to be in, to be riding this incredible road that also has very tight turns. You need a lot of concentration. But we stopped at this little town.
Sometimes you need the power of holy deities.
Sometimes you need the loving mercy of Guadalupe.
This is true.
We went to the town of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found this little Mexican restaurant there that was truly incredible, authentic Mexican food.
It was really good. And I got a double cheeseburger, which is not known to be very Mexican. But when we were in Mexico, they did it in their own way. And this cheeseburger was just like it was down south.
It was fantastic.
It was an
I
amazing
tried this cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It was good. But I had all different types of tacos. Oh my goodness. The food completely rejuvenated us. We were feeling so good after that.
We began to like each other again, which is important.
It is important. Yeah. And that excitement was rebuilt. It's amazing what a good meal can do.
Yeah.
And we headed on down Highway 1.
Headed on up Highway 1.
That's right. So I had been confused for a long time between the difference of Highway 1 and Highway 101. And now that we have ridden some of both, yeah, I'm still confused.
They intertwine. They kind of stitch together.
That's right. But I do think one is the one just one is the one that is closest to the coast in California. And so that's the one that we predominantly rode on.
So we were aiming to get onto Highway 1 as much as we possibly could, because that seemed to be the one that was touching the coast more often.
Now, if you're going to ride Highway 1, it is known to be one of the most beautiful roads in the world. And you have to decide whether you're going to be going north or south.
No.
We were going from south to north. And there's an argument to be made that going from north to south is better because you're closer. You're
by 20 feet, like,
well, yeah.
You know, like any closer, you're part of the.
You're part of the ocean.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, it's what we can do when we need to do it type stuff. So you know,
it's what we had to do at the time.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciated going from south to north
Yeah.
Because it got more and more dramatic.
It did. There was
as
like
we
an
went
apex.
along.
It would be like starting at the grand finale of a fireworks show, and then the small fizzles at the end. It'd be like, you know. But
That's
it was,
right.
you know, it was really
started
beautiful.
off pretty.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was not on the coast in the very beginning. In Southern California, a lot of 1 and 101 ride through the mountains.
And these little peekaboo sections of
Yes.
you know beautiful landscapes, waterscapes.
So we are here. Where here is, I don't know. But it's beautiful.
You know, north to south versus timing of, you know, summer and winter. A lot of people say, not winter, but, you know, fall. They were like, oh, but in the fall it's real beautiful because all that mist is gone, so you get all these clear views. And I really appreciated the crazy mist that would climb up and over and disperse. And, you know, you're riding through clouds. You know.
I think it was perfect though, because I could see how if it was a very misty day,
That would suck.
have spoiled the views.
Yeah.
But it was just tiny bits of mist,
Mm-hmm.
and then the sun would come streaming through.
Yeah.
So it was perfect in that sense. You got the sense of the mist.
Yeah.
And it was traveling really fast. We were traveling fast, and you could see it kind of like traveling with us and moving around the rocks. And you could see out to sea there was like this line of clouds.
At first, us being from Chicago, I'll identify as myself. At first, I was like, there's more land out there. You know? I was like,
It looked
there's
like land.
Yeah.
The clouds in the distance are making these really cool formations where it looks like islands, kind of offshore with mountains, but it's just clouds.
But it's just where, you know, the ocean meets the sky and where weather fronts meet, or, you know, there's probably smart things happening over there that a meteorologist could tell you why. But to me, if I was like, made it all the way to the west coast as a pioneer, I'd be like, but there's more land.
There's more. But finally we realized that these are just misty clouds.
Yeah, and one thing that we surely didn't want to miss is the little elephant seals.
Yes! Elephant seals.
There were no males there. You know, like, it was pretty much just a nude beach of female seals that were.
They made
it was
some
like
interesting sounds.
sardines in a can, uncanned sardines, and they were like, no, let's stick in this formation. It seems safe. You know, it's like they're just packed up against each other, and then they'd snort at each other, and it's like, you're my piece of sand. It is a female. And they were what they call molting, which is just shedding, which looks like they've all caught some like horrible disease. But
or that they're like rotting corpses. But and it smelled bad too.
And I always say it's like that bar scene from Star Wars where it's like, you know, just everything's like, you know, it's just like, I don't know what's going on, but this is weird. Chest shield.
Chest shield. Sharp teeth. Proboscis. Large eyes. Thick blubber. Torpedo-shaped bodies. And sensitive whiskers. These were elephant seals, and they didn't have that crazy elephant nose,
the gonzo
because
nose.
that's that is the male that has it, and these were all females. But these females lay upon the beach at this time of year for 30 days, and they do nothing. They don't eat. They don't go out into the sea to hunt. They just lay there and molt their fur.
Yeah.
Like a snake, getting rid of all of that excess skin.
No, like someone from Chicago and Florida for way too long. Like without using sunscreen. And then they're like, oh, my face comes off in huge chunks. So that's what they look like. They, like it looks like they've seen some things. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff.
Some of them sounded like they were farting through their mouths.
You didn't know which end the sounds were coming from. Sounds like it should be coming out the other end. And it was me on a bad day after too much coffee and Taco Bell. And I was like, oh man. Turtle face, huh? That is, that's interesting. Nature's beautiful, At least it was all women, and that wasn't like their mating call, because I'd been like, I don't know what's going on here, but... yeah, when girls are by themselves...
Oh, we let it rip.
Things go weird.
So that was a really, really cool spot.
Yeah, and we took a bunch of pictures and a bunch of videos. And, there's a theme going on to this day versus other days. Because the other days had been kind of hard.
Yeah.
And then a crappy night. And there's beautiful stuff all around. So it's hard to be pissy when you're doing beautiful stuff. But I do think that we need to, and I suggest everyone out there to do, and this is something that Sam Manicom has been preaching for many years, so I'm not, the first person to say it, but break often. Take pictures of pretty trees. Yeah. Take pictures of that weird windmill or that, a cow. Like, get off the bike. Get your, leg off of...
Drink some water,
chit and chat, giggle.
Take in your surroundings.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Smelling the seal farts, And then move on.
Stopping and being like, wow, that's really cool. We stopped by this rock that had like one little tree on it.
Yeah. And I kept on putting my GoPro on, and I'm like, well, that was probably one of the more beautiful sections of this ride. And I'd turn it off and then turn around the corner. I'm like, oh no, there's more, Like,
yeah, we might have 5 hours worth of footage. This is going to be
a 4-hour video just to let everybody know. But stay tuned to the end, because we'll tell you a secret or something.
Weaving and winding along that coastal section. We started rising higher and higher and higher away from the shore.
Yeah, and it was cool because in the beginning of the day, we're going through like these little surf towns and stuff, and I'm requesting Marisa not to look any surfers in the eyes because she'll see the ocean and she'll abandon me and ride around the world on the back of a surfboard, paddleboard. It's like, yeah, man, it's dangerous is all I'm saying. But, we rode through a town where it was like elevation 13. I was like, how awesome is that?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And it was strange how the weather would change from hot to quite cold.
Just going 10 miles inland and then touching the coast was just, you know.
You'd get these cold breezes coming
by cold,
through.
like 57.
57
We're almost
It's
freezing.
very cold when you're on a motorcycle, and the wind is just coming right at you. And then things started getting truly dramatic. The cliffs were getting higher and higher and higher. And the rocks along the coast would get super jaggedy. You could see these waves just pummeling them. Big Sur, which is just...
Which a big surprise with the gas prices. Jesus, we pulled over and it was like $9 a gallon. I was like, I'd rather call AAA and tow. It was cheaper to fly my bike back from Uganda than it was to fill my tank up in Big Sur. Jeez.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the price of convenience.
Yeah.
Beauty and convenience.
Beauty and the Beast over there is what it was.
Ooh.
That was crazy. I pulled up to the thing and I was like, yeah, no. I had 2 bars left and I'm like, I'm going to risk it. There's enough seal farts back there to make some kind of gas to push me forward. Wow.
I'd rather push the bike along the road the whole way.
God. But yeah, so that was scary.
That was scary.
But then we kept going in hopes that there would be a promised land of cheaper gas.
Jaw-dropping scenery.
Yeah.
It was just this curvy road back and forth, and then you get these huge ocean vistas with the rocky crags.
Vistas just about everywhere. You know, I tried to, if I would butt up against people, instead of like trying to, you know, pass them, because that's nearly impossible in all these twisting stuff, I'd pull over at a vista, take a pretty, you know, picture or two. Then look to see if there's any traffic coming, and then, you know, I mean, all you want to do is just get 5 minutes behind somebody, and then you probably won't butt up to each other for a while. But then you get that just nice, I'm on a road going
alone.
Through, beautiful, even though it's based on lies. But it's, you know, and then there's these cool little bridges that were built, and
it's beautiful. It's big, beautiful.
They have a real problem with landslides there,
Yeah.
so some of those bridges are purely to let the landslide go underneath them.
or the landslide took out the road, and they were like, well, let's build a bridge, because
But it was really beautiful, the bridges, the scenery, everything all together.
you know, we're not necessarily fighting time, but we never know exactly where we're going to be, which here in Cali is kind of biting us in the butt.
Yes,
because a lot of things take reservations, and then it's like, oh, Yosemite, we can't go there.
We'd be camping in the Redwood Forest last night, but we were so tired. Campgrounds were turning out to be very expensive.
It was
and
like
fully booked.
$70 at a campsite off of one.
Yeah,
you know? And I was like, no, we need
Big Sur.
Big Sur-prise. They just shortened it. Everybody in Cali knows. So we had to do a little bit of, you know, on the fly, figuring stuff out. As you can see, this is not a wild campground.
No, and we have Temple of Moto to thank for that.
So we just got done doing
Highway 1.
Highway 1. Highway 1 is very fun. We are in Monterey, but we wanted to camp, but the campgrounds were like super duper expensive, and understandably so, because they're on beautiful parts.
Yeah.
But
we decided, you know, we've been camping for a while now, and it might be nice to have a shower
and electricity and Wi-Fi
and a bed where raccoons aren't attacking us in the night.
Indeed. So we got a small basic room, which is awesome.
But we are so thankful for this hotel room.
Indeed.
Thank you, Temple of Moto.
Thank you, Temple of Moto. Yeah.
They have been so kind as to let us have this wonderful hotel room when we need it, and we definitely needed it last night. They're a motorcycle tour company that goes all over the United States and now internationally. They focus on having just a good, luxurious time while still having adventures.
Yeah, we're down and dirty, but you know they do it on a nice scale. And so, out of their generosity, they've are supplying us with a hotel motel once a month.
A luxury night.
A luxury night for us, you know.
Yes.
And
we needed that so badly.
We sure did. So yeah, we pulled inland and we went to where we are now, which is Monterey. And
we found this nice little hotel.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And we had a wonderful night's sleep.
We slept. There were no raccoons.
There were no raccoons in this hotel.
And there were no gaggling geese.
Nope. And no snorting, farting, vocalizing seals either.
No seals. All right, you throw in seals.
Just one.
I'm not a seal.
Now, today's ride is going to be a little bit interesting because we had originally planned to go to Yosemite.
Yeah, but we're not smart. We used to be able to meander around and show up at a campsite or whatever, and you know, or a national park, and be like, "Hey, we're here," and like, "Well, awesome, come on! Oh, you got a national park pass? Congrats!
Cool,
that's cool."
Yeah.
You know, now it seems to be a little bit more congested, and we did not reserve anything.
And we didn't realize that you had to reserve in order to drive
through it.
Yosemite. We wanted to do Tioga Pass. We were just really excited for all of that, but the reservations have been booked well in advance.
Yeah, and what is today? Wednesday? Thursday?
Something.
It's a day.
It's a day. But it doesn't matter what day it is. It's booked.
A good backup plan.
Yes.
We always revert back to, you know, maybe we can relive some old memories. 5 years ago, we had stayed just outside of the Sequoia National, or within the Sequoia National Forest, outside of Three Rivers. And so I think we're going to head up there and try to stay at the same campsite there.
Maybe we'll see a few giant trees since we weren't able to camp in the redwoods.
Yeah.
We're going to be camping in the sequoias.
Yeah.
So we'll be seeing you in the next episode, and stay tuned. I hope you liked this one. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. Ding ding. And we'll be seeing you next time.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.